Mary Walsh is a well-known comedian among many projects. You've seen her lift the sword with her character Marg Delahunty on This Hour Has 22 Minutes. Mary also has a title she's been holding for the past 3 years, a spokesperson for Bell Let's Talk Day.
Well, I drank for 25 years. I felt such a lack of compassion about myself. You know, there's a harsh voice in my head, and sometimes I'm harsh because I judge myself very harshly. I find the kinder I am to myself, the more I give myself a break about not being perfect.
Joining us to talk more about Bell Let's Talk Day, Mary Walsh. Mary, why did you initially decide to jump on board for Bell Let's Talk Day?
Jeremy, first of all, Clara Hughes had been doing such a great job for 4 years before I ever got on board. And indications were already that, mental health issues were being dragged out of the dark and shameful corner and into some light, just by this program and other great programs that have been going on, and that people have started to see that, the relation between mental and dental, there's only 2 inches between your teeth and your brain, and yet we treat them so differently. It's just a regular thing to go to an orthodontist or periodontist, and you wouldn't be ashamed to tell anyone that you were going. And yet, if we have problems with our brain, it just is so dark and shameful that we'd be afraid to speak. And it's time to move. And I just felt me like everybody else. I struggled with. I don't mean me like everybody else that I struggled with alcoholism. I mean, everybody doesn't, but I did. But like everyone else, 1 in 5 Canadians suffer from a severe mental illness in their lifetime, and they say 1 in 2 of us will suffer from some form of mental illness. And so the guy who was hosting this thing that we did with the Army today, he said actually it's 5 in 5 of us that feel the impact, right? Like he talked about growing up with his mother who suffered severely from depression and how that impacted him, and he feels that it has impacted his sons, right? So they're only 10 and 12 now, and they don't know yet, but he sees it. And so it seemed like they offered me a chance to speak, and I thought that I would take it, and that maybe I could be part of making a change in something that really desperately needs to be changed.
Mary Walsh joining us. Mary, do you get the sense, since this cause was introduced 7 or 8 years ago, that it is starting to help out?
Well, they've done studies. Bell has looked into it, and they've seen stigma is going down for sure, and particularly among young people who no longer see mental illness as something that is entirely, totally different than any other kind of illness, like heart disease or diabetes. Now what's happening? Now the next phase, the next platform has got to be access to care, because as the stigma is lowered and more people are reaching out for help, they're coming up against the wall of the fact that there isn't any help. That there is help, of course, but that access to care is so difficult right across the country. Only 1 in 6 young people who reach out for help with mental illness, only 1 in 6 will ever receive any kind of help at all. Now, if that was 1 in 6 children who were reaching out for help with leukemia, I mean, people would be marching in the streets, wouldn't they? And so as stigma gets lowered and the need for help rises, we're going to face more challenges. And, I was hoping today that people would tweet and call and email and Snapchat their federal members, their provincial members, and their municipal council members, right? And there has to be a groundswell to move us towards, because we spend less than any other G8 country on research on mental health. We really have to make a change.
Today is Bell Let's Talk Day, and Mary Walsh, there's so many ways that Canadians can help out to this cause.
Yes, you can Snapchat, you can Instagram, you can tweet, you can Facebook, you can, what are the other ways people communicate?
You can call. Lots of ways, eh?
Hardly anybody calls anymore, though. I must say, calling is so great, isn't it? Yeah.
Mary Walsh, thank you so much for doing this.
Jeremy, thank you. God love you.